Hi guys, this is Lydia, the lifestyle coach, and welcome to a new live feed. We are ending eating disorders using nothing but your brain, and it's so fun to see you guys here. So feel free to say hello, hearts and likes, and make a comment. And we're going to talk about obviously what everyone is talking about, and it is really incredible to see all of the media and the news, and it's such an important thing. I mean, the coronavirus is something that is spreading, that is a huge issue that people are taking so many precautions with, and there's just been a really big reaction over the coronavirus. A lot of people are in fear. A lot of people are taking measures and important measures to stop the spread and help the people that need the help. So, I mean, churches are being canceled, big events, and concerts, the NBA, their whole season, South by Southwest, like these massive events, just so we have that social distancing and coronavirus doesn't get spread. There is a lot of action being taken. Schools are closed down, activities, work. We're all learning how to, work from home and wondering, okay, what does this mean for me? Like, what does this mean for myself, my family, the people that I love, just the world in general, that coronavirus is on everyone's minds and a very real threat. And the world has mobilized. It has been incredible to see how nations, the planet, have gotten together and said, we need to do something about this. We need to mobilize. We can make a difference. We need to get good information out there. We need to stop the spread of this. We need to treat those who are in need of treatment. And as people are reacting to coronavirus, it is incredible the parallels of the fear of coronavirus and having an eating disorder. And eating disorders have been around for a lot longer than the coronavirus. Eating disorders have been around as long as people have been eating, and women have been pressured to be thinner and to place their value and their worth on how successful they can make themselves smaller and look younger, and all of that expectation that literally teaches our bodies and our brains to have an eating disorder. So hi guys, so fun to see you on. Again, this is Lydia. We are ending eating disorders, and we're talking about the really clear parallels between the reaction of coronavirus, not the reaction of the world, but the reaction internally of the individual and that fear, and having an eating disorder. So the first thing is, we're worried about it happening to us, right? It's like, okay, like, are we going to get coronavirus? Is somebody that we love going to get coronavirus? Is this going to be spread? And this is the internal struggle every single day when you have an eating disorder. Every single day for 20, 30, 40 years. Is it going to happen again? You wake up, am I going to binge? Can I put everything in place? So the coronavirus, like, am I washing my hands enough? Am I social distancing enough? Am I doing all the right things? Do I have what I need to prepare? In an eating disorder world, that's how you wake up every day. Am I going to eat the right things today to avoid this bad thing from happening? Am I going to binge today? Am I going to lose control? Is something going to happen emotionally or physically in my environment? Am I going to have an event? Am I going to have a stressful situation that's going to trigger me into losing control with food again? It's this consistent fear of, is it going to happen today? And we're feeling this on a wide scale of everyone asking, okay, like, am I going to catch? Is going to happen to me? And yeah, it's stressful and it's hard. And that's what it feels like every single day having an eating disorder. The other thing is that we're worried that it's contagious. All right, other people have the coronavirus. We can spread it to other people. Like, will I get it? Am I going to accidentally pass it on to somebody that maybe I'm healthy enough to get through it, but is it going to kill them? This is a very real worry for people with an eating disorder, especially women with daughters. We worry every single day. Am I going to pass this on to my children? We're constantly examining them, just like, we're listening to our children and seeing, okay, like, are they breathing okay? Are they coughing? Do they have a fever? A mother with an eating disorder is constantly looking at her children and saying, okay, what is their mentality about food? What is their mentality about their bodies? Okay, I'm really scared that I'm finding wrappers in their room. Okay, they're hiding food now. Oh no, I see their weight fluctuating. Okay, I see that they're going on a diet at the same age that I started going on a diet. And the scary thing is just like with coronavirus, one scary piece of it is that we might spread it before we even know that we have it, or spread it unbeknownst to that we were the one who spread it. We could be a link in that chain that could literally end someone else's life. And when that's your own children with an eating disorder, I mean, we talk to incredible individuals that could die anytime from their eating disorder. I mean, especially with bulimia, with purging, there are 3 ways that your heart can stop anytime that you purge. And some people are doing it once a day, and some people are doing it once a week, and some people are doing it 14 times a day. Not because they want to, because they feel completely out of control. And then they find out that their mother had bulimia all growing up. We talk to mothers that try so hard to hide it from their children. Well, I never binge in front of them. Oh, well, I never talk about my body in front of them. But their kids can still sense their shame, can still sense, like see them fluctuating up and down, can see that their moms don't go out in public once they've gained the 50 pounds back, catch their moms binging when they think that they're up in the night when everyone's asleep and doing it, but then their kids are seeing them out of control. And yes, absolutely, it is contagious, as in this gets passed on from parents to children all the time. We talk to so many mothers that come to us that say, I have to end my eating disorder because my daughter has an eating disorder and I've survived it, but it could kill her and I don't want to pass this on to my grandchildren. This is the generational effect of how contagious the eating disorders are. The other big parallel is it's isolating. Think of what we're all doing with coronavirus. We're trying not to be in contact with other people. We're trying not to be seen. We're hiding so we don't catch something from someone else or, make someone else sick. We're trying to do that in a responsible way to stop the spread of coronavirus. But think of how disruptive it is to society. And these are measures that need to be taken. But think of how hard it is to not have that contact with other human beings every day. Think of how much you have to alter your world to try to not see other people. And with an eating disorder, you are isolating yourself because you're so ashamed of what you're doing, who you are. It's this feeling of everyone's going to be able to tell. Everyone's going to be able to tell that I binged last night or I binged right before I went to this event. I feel sick. I feel awful. We make ourselves sick and then we can't go out. It sounds like I don't want to run into somebody who hasn't seen me gain all this weight back. I don't want to run into somebody and them not recognize me because I've gained the 50 pounds back. Oh, well, I don't want to see that person that I know. Oh, well, I don't want to go to that event because I'm too embarrassed or ashamed. Well, I don't want to go out and be with people because that might trigger a binge later because I can't handle the event. And so I better just stay at home. I better just isolate. And us trying to avoid all those triggers literally keeps us more and more isolated. And the more isolated we are, the worse our eating gets. And the worse our eating gets, then the weight gain gets even more rapid. And then we're more ashamed to be seen by people. Then our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. This is such a clear parallel. And then there's this feeling of not enough. There's a lot of people hoarding, right? It's like we're out of toilet paper in so many places. The grocery stores are, the shelves are empty, and people have this feeling of, am I going to have enough? There's not enough. And this is deep in the heart of every single day of an eating disorder. You feel like you can never be full, that there's never enough. You have your food that you don't want anyone else to have. You don't want anyone else to get. You don't want to be sharing. It's a really hard emotional thing if somebody wants to eat your food, even your own children. Like, no, you don't want to share. Like, this is my food. And there's this feeling of just not enough. You get to the last bite of your dinner and it's like a panic because you want more and you feel like you can't have more and you feel like you're going to binge later. And then the spiral starts, this feeling of not enough and the scarcity, just like everyone buying up food and, storing things because they feel like there's a threat on there's not going to be enough. That's what it feels like to eat every single day with an eating disorder. And then the mental obsession. Coronavirus is on everyone's minds. We're thinking about it. We're seeing things in the news about it. We're wanting to stay updated about it. We're hearing about this case and that case. And, maybe this is going to happen. And it's something that is constantly buzzing in everyone's minds. And this is something that with an eating disorder starts usually the moment that you wake up. The round and round and round, the hamster wheel, the never-ending food thoughts okay, well, what am I going to eat today? Or I can't believe what I did last night. Or I've got to make sure that I have my food plan the right way. Or should I eat this or should I not eat this? And if we're going to eat this for dinner, then I need to not have this for lunch. And I wonder if I have the right balance of this. And if I don't get my macros right, then is it going to make me binge later? And then am I going to, feel like I'm going to binge after dinner? And how am I going to keep myself from doing that? And how am I going to get my kids to bed on time so that I can go and binge? And I can't believe I'm thinking about binging and I shouldn't do that. And I have to lose this weight. And I just hate my body and I've got to do something about it. And I'm sure that if I did this thing or if I did this thing, and then we listen to 4 hours of audiobooks and YouTube videos about, okay, well, how can I fix this? And it's just this constant obsession that just wears out our adrenals and makes us full of anxiety. And this is where the depression comes in, because it's always on our minds. And it's been so distracting to, have this thread about coronavirus because we're all thinking about it. But think of with an eating disorder, this is something that you're thinking about constantly, all day, every day. The other thing is that the coronavirus has really interrupted our natural habits. We're all trying to not touch our face. And that's like something that is an everyday thing that was totally subconscious that we used to all be doing, was touching our face or just going and, going out to eat or eating a meal. And it's so incredibly disruptive. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Jenna. Oh, so awesome to see you guys. Feel free to say hello and likes and hearts. And we're really talking today about how coronavirus is on everyone's minds. And there are so many parallels between the reaction of the fear and the reality of the coronavirus and what it's like to just every day have an eating disorder. Yeah. And thank you, Kimberly. She's saying that, it's so hard to stay on track when our routine is disrupted. Exactly. So these things feed into each other. So with coronavirus, it's like, okay, we have totally disrupted our life, right? Like now we're not going to work. Maybe we're staying home from work. We're trying not to touch our face. We're trying not to go out and eat. We're eating differently because we can't get the same foods. Now, instead of, going to work, now we're all home all together as a family. And it's incredibly disruptive to our routine. And every natural piece of what we do is disrupted by an eating disorder. Eating is an incredibly natural thing that for normal eaters, it's a non-issue. It's like breathing. And when you have an eating disorder, every single meal is a decider of, are you succeeding or are you failing? Every single meal is this the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? You could put hours of obsession into, am I eating the right thing? Or am I eating it the right way? Or should I have this much? Or should I have that much? Or should I try to have less? But if I try to have less, then will I be driven to have more? Well, if I have more, am I going to gain weight? And it is an incredible disruption of just the natural way that human beings are able to be without an eating disorder, which is food is a non-issue. And it disrupts everything. With an eating disorder, you have to weigh every single opportunity for food of, is this something that is going to throw everything off? Is this something that is going to throw me off of track? And Kimberly, she's saying not to mention, I seek food for comfort. Exactly. That is exactly what I'm getting to, you guys. And these things go hand in hand. So as we're disrupted by the coronavirus and all those changes, and then we've already had this eating disorder, and that eating disorder has kept us isolated and it's disrupted our lives and it's brought so much stress and mental obsession. And then you layer that on top of all of this fear and panic with coronavirus. It's hard. It's really, really hard. It's hard enough having an eating disorder. And then it's even harder when everything gets disrupted by everything happening with the reaction to the coronavirus. And there are so many parallels to that because these are both things that create fear, that there are unknowns about. And for all of you who have said, this has been a big struggle with the coronavirus, we need to really look internally and give yourself the space to understand and give yourself empathy for how hard this has been every single day for, what has it been? 9 years, 12 years, 40 years that you've lived with this every single day, with this fear of this eating disorder. And the other thing that it really does is it brings things into perspective, right? The coronavirus has all brought us to what's really important in life. We think about life, we think about family, we think about how we really want to spend our lives. And eating disorders do the same thing because they get worse and worse. Now we're diagnosed with diabetes. Now we've gained 50 pounds again. And it brings into that perspective as things get worse, especially of what life is really all about. And just like you're saying, Kimberly, like these things feed on each other, feed on each other. Because, oh, I'm stressed about coronavirus. Well, where do I go when I'm stressed? Okay, well, I go back to food because I don't know how to do otherwise. And it gets really, really difficult. And thank you, Sarah. Yeah, Sarah saying like, so true, Kimberly. I had so much chatter about working from home. Yeah. And Sarah, feel free to like, oh, Sarah, Jenna, I mean, you guys are amazing. I mean, these are incredible women that, you know, that I know, like you feel free to share your stories and your experience right here on the live feed, you guys in the chat. Like, I would love to just, you know, spread some hope in this knowing that although it's so, so hard to be in this world where there are so many parallels with the coronavirus, but then in the everyday struggle of an eating disorder, that you absolutely can be on the other side of this. Like you can be done, you can be free. We see this all the time, every day. That's what we do. That's why women from all around the world come to us, because we're the best in the world at really ending this at its root. And here's the thing that I really wanted to talk about here on the live feed. And it's so amazing to see you guys on here, that the world is mobilizing for the coronavirus. The coronavirus is a threat, it's life-threatening, and the world is mobilizing. Education is widespread. We're really doing a lot to get good information out there. And here's what I'm calling out. Imagine this. Coronavirus is a huge problem, and let's say that there's a $66 billion industry that gets paid every single time that somebody gets sick with coronavirus. I want you to put yourself in that world for a moment. And the campaigns, I mean, are saying there's all this media, all this advertising. Oh, you guys gather together, see how big you can make your parties. This is the time. Like, you know, if coronavirus, you know, like, yeah, what you really want to do is you want to get together and you want to hold hands, and you know what, don't wash your hands. Like, you're not pretty when you wash your hands. And there's when you imagine a world, how ridiculous this is to have all that propaganda to actually create the spread of coronavirus. And then let's say that same $66 billion industry also has a cure, and I'm going to put that in quotes, for it. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, if you're worried about getting sick, what you need to do is you need to go out, you need to have parties, you need to hold hands. And if you get sick, you know what? You're not trying hard enough. You should have bigger parties. You should have bigger greetings, more greetings. That would really fix it. In fact, you should buy this product. You should do this thing. You should do this 21-day, get a big enough group together to stop yourself from being sick. That's what it really is. You're not sharing enough meals. Imagine that. If there was a $66 billion industry that got paid every single time that someone got sick, and then they promote the things that make you sick, and then they promote the things that make you not sick, I'm going to put that in quotes, but actually make the problem worse. And by the way, 98% of the time, when you just get a bigger group of people together and hold more hands and get even closer and share a water bottle, 98% of the time, it actually makes it worse. It actually fails. That would be what we call wrong. That would be messed up. We would probably mobilize together and say, hey, this is really bad information. Hey, this is killing people. Hey, this is not okay. So let's call this out for a minute. What's actually happening is people die every single day from eating disorders. Women all around the world. Every 62 minutes, a woman dies from directly the effects of an eating disorder. And that is not to count all of the people that die every single day from the indirect effects of an eating disorder. So with the direct effects, we're talking about, okay, I was hospitalized for anorexia and then it killed me. Or, you know what, I was purging and it stopped my heart, and that was bulimia. We're not talking about all of the women that die from 40 years of yo-yo dieting and all the complications, all the people who die from diabetes because they were never able to have control over the food that they ate because they felt so driven, even when their lives were in the balance, that they couldn't control their own food. Like, these are the problems that is massive and sweeping. And there are all of these women dying. There is this destruction. There is this huge problem with eating disorders. It is although we want to do everything we can to stop the spread of coronavirus, I think it's interesting that we have, for the most part, as a society, ignored the incredible spread of eating disorders and had really bad information out there in the world. All the women spreading this to their daughters, the families putting this from generation to generation. And the mass media is just like if they came out about coronavirus and said, hey, you just got to gather bigger together, gather more people together. That's going to be the fix. All the media message around, oh, you're struggling with food? Go on this diet. Thinner is healthier. Thinner is acceptable. You're lovable if you can just restrict your food enough. And there's a $66 billion diet industry that has an incentive to make people sicker. It has an incentive to make the problem worse. And that is exactly what has been going on for decades. It's the number one public health problem that we aren't talking about. Can you imagine a world where we mobilized to actually end eating disorders? And we're looking for a vaccine for coronavirus. And I'm sure that those things are being developed right now. But here's the thing, is we already have a solution to end eating disorders. Man, like this is something where you can go to lydiavideo.com. You can see like the hundreds and hundreds of people that are now free of their eating disorders. And no matter how long it's been, we coach a lot of women who it's been over 40 years of an eating disorder. It doesn't matter how many things you've tried. We coach women who have literally been in and out of eating disorder like in treatment 5 times. And they come to us in a handful of weeks. They're done and they're free of their eating disorder. I mean, we have the solution to fix this problem. But there is a huge industry that is incentivized to keep on spreading the problem. It's the $66 billion diet industry that is literally like churning and growing because of making the problem worse and all of the advertising and marketing that drives people to something that fails 98% of the time. And it's literally killing people. So even if we ended the dieting, right? Even with the good information, there's more and more good information out there. And that's something that we're grateful for. But even if we ended the restriction of dieting, which is the number one cause of an eating disorder, then it's already become a habit. It's already become neurologically wired in our brain. And that is why we institute a neurological interrupt system with our clients so that they can have control anytime, so that urge to binge just melts away. And they have full power of how to do that. But you've got to know how to do it. You've got to mobilize. You've got to get good information out there. That's why we do these live feeds. That's why we have so much information out there. That's why we have a podcast, so that people can know that there is a way out of this and that you can be done with an eating disorder. And it's time for that same passion that we're putting behind ending the spread of coronavirus to end the spread of eating disorders and to be able to fix the problem. And if we had a society that mobilized in that way, it would make a huge difference. It would save a lot of lives. I mean, share this video. When you hear a podcast episode that you love, share that. You can look at our page or our Facebook group. Share the things that we're saying, the good information. Just like with the coronavirus, there's this little like, okay, like how to know about your symptoms. Okay, great. We know exactly how to do that with eating disorders, how to know what to do, how to know if you have an eating disorder, what to do about it. That's what we talk about day in and day out, because it's so important. When we have good information, and since we already know how to fix this, it absolutely can be done. So just like the coronavirus, like one piece that is, we want to stop the spread. We want to take care of the people that are already affected. We want to do the same things with eating disorders. We want to stop the spread. We want to stop this generational mothers passing this to daughters. We want to stop women passing this on to other women because of that diet mentality. And we want to be able to help those who are already struggling with an eating disorder to be done and to be free of it. And that's exactly why we do what we do. In fact, if this is something for you, if you're struggling with, or if you know somebody who's struggling with a disordered relationship with food, where you're isolating yourself, where you have the mental obsession going on, where you feel out of control with what you are eating, then you can go to lifewithlydia.com/apply. Again, it's lifewithlydia.com/apply, and you can book a free breakthrough session where we're going to help you know exactly what's keeping you stuck with food. Well, more importantly, talk about really what freedom is for the other side and what you want for you. And then we're going to get super clear on next steps of how to solve this problem once and for all. And it's so incredible to have you guys on. So just want to pop over here with the comments. Yeah, Jenna, she says, I'm binge free. Congratulations, Jenna. And oh, so excited for Jenna and celebrating her. And you guys, with Jenna, it's like she's celebrating she's binge free here. And it's because she got the help that she needed. She came to us because she refused to go one more day without a proven system and a mentor to help her to get to the other side of this. But this is something that is so important to be done and free from. But if your way is not working, and it hasn't for the last 20 years, and you keep on going back to the same things that don't work, they're not going to start working. And so really celebrating you, Jenna. And Jenna showed up and she did the work and she was coachable, and that's why she can be on the other side of this. And oh man, so Sarah, I just want to celebrate your comment as well. Just because I have chatter, though, doesn't mean I don't know how to handle it. I can imagine what this would have been like for me 1 year ago before I did the Beat the Binge program. Staying at home all day with access to all my food would have been a recipe for all day binging, not anymore. Yay! Congratulations, Sarah. Oh, just love celebrating you. Sarah has an amazing, amazing story. And yeah, like especially with being at home all day long, like that's just such a crazy thing when you're out of control of food, and such a reason for incredible gratitude now that you could be home, and it might not be fun, Sarah, but like you get to do it without the eating disorders. So yeah, huge congratulations. Yeah, and Sarah's saying I wouldn't have been able to focus on work previously, you know. Oh, only a few more days till my freedom anniversary. Yeah, Sarah, congratulations. Okay, so you guys, the freedom anniversary is we celebrate with as soon as somebody chooses their freedom, right? Like when they're like, yes, I'm done. I'm going to get the help that I need. The day they start that journey, and we actually start our clients the very same day that they decide on that freedom with the very key for their freedom, literally in the first hour of when they make that decision for freedom. We give them the tool that's going to break the cycle for the rest of their lives. And then they get to practice it and celebrate with it. But the freedom anniversary is you celebrate every year that you're free, right? Like it's so fun because you have this day where maybe you have your birthday, but then you have your freedom anniversary. Like this is the day that I decided on freedom. And it's really fun because our clients, you know, years later, I mean, I think we had somebody celebrate their 5-year freedom anniversary the other day with us after 29 years of binge eating. She was just like, yes, it's my freedom anniversary. So, oh, so cool. I love it, Sarah. And yeah, Sarah saying such a broken system, money over everything. Yeah, it's just like, it's incredible the incentive of these huge industries, right? Because it's a $66 billion diet industry that the more women that are in the cycle of disordered eating, literally the more return customers they have, right? Because there's this message of there's something wrong with you. You just have to try harder. Oh, what about this diet? Or do the same old diet, but you didn't work hard enough the last time. Or it's just this round and round. And it's something that breaks our metabolisms, the rapid weight gain starts, and then we just go back to more of the same poison that actually made us sick. Like it's true corruption of literally creating the poison that makes someone sick and then putting a different label on it and calling it medicine and then selling that to the same people that you made sick. Like that is exactly why we exist, because it's like no more. Like it's not okay. Like this is killing people all over the world. And that's why we do what we do, because it's about being done, being free. So, you know, we don't look for return customers. Like we show people how to be permanently free of their eating disorders for the rest of their lives. So yeah. Oh, Kimberly, I love that. Very interesting analogy. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Jenna, you're talking about, you know, so do your worries about, you know, city on lockdown. I know it's crazy, like that, you know, lack of connection. And I want, like, for those of you who are grads of our program, like really lean into the amazing community that we have. Like we have an incredible grad community, amazing women who all understand, that are, you know, free of their eating disorders, that are getting to move on to wonderful things, that are practicing together. Like, yeah, exactly. Like really lean in. Oh, I love you too, Jenna. Hi, so fun. Okay, so Kimberly saying, I'm worried about how to handle feeding my daughter for sure. I get major anxiety about her eating. Didn't really think about that. Yeah. And so thank you so much for bringing that up, Kimberly. And just before I pop off, I really want to address that because I've been there. Like, you know, I have a daughter, and when I had an eating disorder, it was this really difficult space because on the one hand side, I did not want to pass on this eating disorder to her. And so I tried so hard to like be healthy, and really my identity was health. That's why it really worried me so much when I would go and I would lose control and binge, because my identity was health. Like I'm a healthy person. So I would try so much to be a healthy example to her and make her healthy lunches. And, oh, you know, it's like you want to eat vegetables and, oh, drink enough water. What I didn't realize, Kimberly, was because I wasn't on the other side of it yet. And this is something that people learn when they go through our program that is really awakening, is usually the very things that we're trying to do to not give our children eating disorders are actually perpetuating it. It's actually making it worse without us knowing. Like, there were so many things that I told my daughter in the interest of like, I just want to show her how to be healthy, that was really, I'm showing her how to have an eating disorder. And I didn't realize that until I was on the other side of that. So that's something that we actually teach our clients really early on, is why other things didn't work and what actually makes it worse, so that it's crystal clear. Because again, a lot of the ways we try to fix this actually make it worse. And that's a huge, huge problem with this. And then I know that there's a lot of anxiety because we're so disordered around food, and we have so much anxiety around food, like seeing our kids eat candy, or seeing our kids eat too fast, or seeing our kids want more and more dinner, or seeing our kids sneak candy, like, or being driven toward dessert, or like all the things that would really freak us out and do freak us out when it happens in us. Then we start having huge anxiety about seeing it in our kids. And the natural reaction is we want to try to control that or squelch that, just like we try to do that in ourselves. And what that really happens is it creates a cycle of shame where, people go into hiding, and that's when we lose connection with our kids. And that's why, our kids develop eating disorders and we don't even know about it, because they're doing this in secret. It's like, all the time. I'll tell you, a quick story. There is a woman, you can see her freedom story, but one thing that she did was, just like as a little kid, she got like a glass of juice and she unwrapped a candy bar and she put it down in the glass of juice, and then she carried the juice to her room to hide from her parents. And she just like sat in her dark room by herself, like in her closet actually, and ate the candy bar because of the level of shame that her parents had made a really clear message: don't get fat. You don't want to get fat. The message is from a lot of times a good place. I'm going to put that in quotes, but like, we know how hard society is on people who are fat and how fat phobic the society is. Don't you get fat, so don't eat that. Like, and so it just goes in hiding. It doesn't keep people from doing it. It creates hiding and shame. And really, that's where her eating disorder started. And that is just one way of 100 that we pass this on to the next generation. So again, you guys, if you want some help with this, like, just reach out, like lifewithlydia.com/apply, and you can get the help that you need. We're going to be super clear in serving you to the outcome of you knowing the exact next steps of how to solve this. So yeah, thank you so much. Oh, Jen is asking some questions about the grad retreat. Yeah, I'll actually pop in the grad group and talk to you guys about that, because that's more of like a just grad thing. But thank you. I'm glad you're asking that. Yeah. Oh, hey, Robin, want to celebrate with you. Robin says, I'm in the 8-week program right now. She's talking about the Beat the Binge program, the same one that Jenna and Sarah were in. So excited to already have freedom, because I would be binging all day, every day right now if it weren't for my freedom. I'm off work for at least 3 weeks, so that would have been prime time to binge in the past. Yeah! Celebrating with you, Robin. That is so, so awesome. Oh, just you guys. And Robin has shown up and done the work and been so coachable, and isn't that so fun to see that contrast, Robin? Like, that's something we really celebrate with our clients, is when you're in these situations where you would have just been crazy binging, where it's like, wow, if I didn't have these principles, I would have just been like totally in a place of despair and crisis. And now it's like, oh yeah, this is kind of stressful, and I'm not even thinking to binge. So celebrating you, Robin. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, all right. So Kimberly's saying, addressing, her child, she wants to eat constantly and it freaks me out. So I try to restrict her. Oh gosh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I don't want her to have to deal with it. Kimberly, yeah, please know, like, I know this is coming from a place of, I want to help her in the way that I know to help her, but that is a huge reason why a lot of eating disorders start for especially young girls. Please, if you haven't already, book a session with us or reach out. I would love to give you some more good resources about that, because yeah, like, that's just going to turn into hiding. Like, yeah. And we've seen really, really hard things. I mean, daughters who aren't talking to their mothers anymore because now that they understand like why they developed an eating disorder, why they've had to struggle for decades, like they point it right back to their mothers restricting them. And please know there's no judgment. Like that was my same reaction as well. Like that's what the $66 billion diet industry tells us to do is, okay, restrict. That's the answer. And it's also the poison. And so that's a really important thing to understand. And thank you guys for, being open and asking your questions and your beautiful comments, and want to celebrate with all of you. So just love you guys. And it's amazing to have this community. It's been amazing to see you guys all on. And I just really want to celebrate you, Robin, Jenna, Sarah, enjoying your freedom. It's so fun to see you here on the Q&A, or not the Q&A. Sorry, like I'm in client brain right now because I'm seeing all of you guys on the live feed. That's what we're doing right now. And again, lifewithlydia.com/apply to get help that you need to fix this forever, so that no matter what happens in the world, you can be steady in yourself. And you don't have that pull to binge because you have full control, and you know how to melt away those urges to binge and keep them from ever coming back. So this doesn't get passed on to another generation, so we can truly, be free of this and be able to enjoy what's truly important and what's come into focus in life right now. So just adore you guys. All right. Okay. All right. Now I'm going. Okay. Mwah. Bye guys. Lydia, the lifestyle coach, signing off.